The Philadelphia Eagles are expected to sign UFL League defensive tackle Jacob Sykes, according to a report from Mike Mitchell, not to be confused with the podcast host of the same name, Doughboys. Sykes, who turns 26 in a couple weeks, played college football at Harvard from 2018 to 2021 and UCLA in 2022 before signing with the Seahawks as a undrafted rookie free agent in 2023. After failing to stick in the NFL, he then joined the UFL San Antonio Barhamas in 2024, logging 13 total tackles, 3 tackles for loss, and 1 sack in 9 games played. The Eagles were apparently looking for more defensive line depth. Sykes was one of the 3 D tackles the team worked out on Monday. The other 2 were Joe Evans and Leonard Payne. So, again, when you look at the Eagles in its totality, at the defensive tackle position, we know Jalen Carter's numero uno, right? Jordan Davis's role will increase in 2025. You draft Ty Robinson. You still got Moro Ojomo, who NFL analysts and podcast people who don't just talk about the Eagles are predicting a breakout year for him. So you got Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, the Georgia Bulldog tandem. You got an up-and-comer in Moro Ojomo, a beast in the Vanilla Gorilla Ty Robinson. I still like, what's his name? From Baylor. Somebody in the comment section, let me know the D tackle from Baylor who was on the practice squad last year. I can't think of his name right off the top of my head, but I think that he can offer some assistance if we need help at D tackle as well. We also got Thomas Booker, who only logged maybe 50 to 60 snaps throughout the season, but came in handy. Gabe Hall. Shout out to Jay and shout out to Trevon. Gabe Hall. Yes, I like him out of Baylor. Maybe he makes some noise. But the interesting thing about this, to say the least, is that let's zoom in a little bit more. Maybe not. The interesting thing about this is the Eagles worked out 3 different D tackles: Jacob Sykes, Joe Evans, and Leonard Payne. So he was the better one of the 3. So at least he didn't just get invited to the Eagles. We like what we saw. He at least outworked 2 other defensive tackles to at least get an invite to Eagles training camp. So that is, to me, just like okay, I like being invited, not off the invitation itself, but off the strength of we brought in 3 guys. You were the best of 3. Come on down. Come to training camp. It's a tall task to make the roster at the D tackle position because I like Thomas Booker and I like Gabe Hall. But shout out to Jacob Sykes, who was an undrafted rookie free agent to the Seahawks at one time. Couldn't hang in the NFL, but is getting another shot. We'll see what all transpires as it pertains to one of the newer Eagles. Let's see if he can hang. But before we really talk about training camp, Keele Ringo, right guard position, all the things that are question marks. And again, just because you have question marks don't mean they're bad. Last year we had some question marks and they were all answered great. I mean, almost every single question mark was answered fantastically. Linebacker position, A. Cornerback position, A. The rotation on the defensive line, A. These were questions. People were worried about what we going to do without Hassan Reddick. What we going to do at linebacker if the guy who a lot of people thought would be one of the helpers and Devin White ain't even make the team? What are we going to do at corner? Is Quinyon ready? Is Coop going to play the slot? Like, there were so many question marks, and they all got answered with A pluses. Not saying it's going to happen again, but I do like what the Eagles brought in as possible answers to the questions. Andrew Makuba to replace CJ. The D-line still intact. You lose Milton and Sweat, but you see the emergence of Jalen Hunt. You see a guy like Nolan Smith ready to take the field and be that leader at the edge position. You get another Philly dog in Azeez Ojulari, Uche is impressing guys like Lane Johnson and Zach Bond. You add Jahad Campbell, Nakobe Dean will be healthy. You've been given Jeremiah Trotter Jr. first team reps, Mike linebacker reps. A lot of good stuff. Keele Ringo has some competition. He won't be handed a job. Tyler Steen has some competition. He won't be handed a job. All good things. But before we talk about the Eagles training camp and what we expect to see, and I do want to get y'all input. This is mainly the reason I didn't make a video today is because I want y'all to take me wherever the conversation needs to go via training camp. But first, let's go ahead and laugh at the Dallas Cowboys for simply just being a joke. Absolutely being a joke. Again, I want to read first what my sports update had to say. Let me read that first. Cowboys owner Jerry Jones randomly takes a shot at Micah Parsons, saying even if they sign him, it doesn't mean they'll have him because he was hurt for 6 games last year. Fact check, he only missed 4. So not only is Jerry Jones taking a shot at Micah Parsons, he's wrong. He took a shot at his premier defensive player, and he's wrong. That's not how you do business, but I love the way they do business. Love it. Let me continue to say, he also says they made Dak Prescott the richest player in football, and he missed 2/3 of the year. Again, these are things that you don't need to say, but I'm glad he said it. Let me pull up the full screen, and we're going to listen to Jerry Jones continue to shoot himself in the foot. What a great owner if you're an Eagle fan.
Just because we signed him doesn't mean we're going to have him. He was hurt 6 games last year. Seriously. We've signed, I remember signing a player for the highest paid at the position in the league, and he got knocked out 2/3 of the year, Dak Prescott. So there's a lot of things you can think about when you, just as the player does, when you're thinking about committing and guaranteeing money.
There's a lot of things that you got to think about, just like the player does when you're trying to commit guarantee money. Keep thinking, Jerry. Again, Dak Prescott deserves to be criticized for the lack of success in the playoffs. But you pay your quarterback, you want him to come back healthy, and you got to just rub it in that he got hurt. Nobody plans to get hurt. When you get injured, it is what it is. You don't. Do you hear Howie Roseman talking about the reason why we didn't give a contract to Nakobe Dean this year was because he got hurt? No. Even if that's in your mind, even if that's on your mind, you just don't say it. The dude is crazy. He's a goofy, but I love it. Eagle fans, we just got it so good. Like, there's a good GMs around the league, and there's great GMs. We got a great one. Cowboys don't even got a good one. And this is why, for the last 30 years, they've been kind of stuck on stupid. They've been stuck on stupid. You know what I mean? I love it, though. There's no training camp. There's no reason to say that. Eagles getting the rings, moving on to training camp. Lovely. And he's just out there just throwing shots, throwing haymakers. That's crazy. Devontae Smith and Micah Parsons came into the league the same time. Devontae Smith got paid last offseason, and Parsons haven't even got paid this offseason. Ridiculous, but in a good way. An absolute good way. Like I said, training camp is upon us. Jalen Hurts ready to rock and roll. Jord Lindsay Sr. said, SOS, stuck on stupid. I like it. I like it. I like it. Trey said, Dak's old as bleep and stay hurt. I don't understand why people continue to rank him over Jalen. Just Eagles hate for sure. Yeah. It's ridiculous. They're the rankings that you just throw out right away. You just throw it out. It is what it is. The Jalen Hurts rankings. Look, Dan Orlovsky has been a person who's on air criticizing Jalen way too much. But what he said recently, I do think needs to be said more often, right? Because you're not going to change the analytic geeks, They're always going to bring up the fact that Jalen only threw 18 passing touchdowns, that he didn't have over 3,000 passing yards. They forget that he had his highest completion percentage, but neither here or there. Again, it's yards per attempt, meaning when he throws the ball, he slings the rock as good as any of the top names out there. Any of them. Yards per attempt. He's up there with the Burrows and the Mahomes and the Allens. He just doesn't attempt that many passes because of the recipe of success. If other teams could run the ball and or utilize the legs of their quarterback more often, they would. When we throw the ball, we do it successfully. We just don't have to. And of course, if you have the least amount of attempts, you're going to rank at the bottom for yardage. But again, yards per attempt, meaning my 10 throws are the same greatness as the other person's 10 throws. But I only threw a 17. He threw a 35. Of course he's going to have more yards. But Dan Orlovsky is a flip-flopper. Shout out to AJ Jones for the first super chat of the day. Dan O'Flip-Floppy needs to stand on his 10 during the show, not just on a video on Twitter. That's true. Dan Orlovsky on ESPN, where there's more eyes, is super critical to Jalen Hurts, constantly trying to leave him at the end of the top 10 and or not even top 10. I'm not exactly sure what he's been saying because, look, to be honest, I don't watch the FS1 shows or the first takes. I don't. When I do hear a topic, it's simply because I'm on Twitter and somebody shared it on Twitter. Either shared it and it popped on my timeline, and or sometimes y'all send it into my DMs. Hey, I appreciate y'all keeping in contact with me and letting me know when certain things happen. But that's how I see all this. I don't watch Colin Hurd, Stephen A. Smith show. First take, first things first. I don't watch it. I see the clips on social media and then I react off it, but I don't turn on the TV and watch it. But I know Dan Orlovsky has been flip-floppy for sure. Shout out to AJ Jones with the $5 super chat and saying it perfectly. Dan O Flip-Floppy needs to stand on his 10 toes during the show, not just on Twitter. But what he said on Twitter is, regardless where you rank Jalen Hurts, you got to go through Jalen Hurts to get to the Super Bowl. If you are a team in the NFC, if you are a quarterback in the NFC, and you want to get to the Super Bowl, you got to go through Jalen Hurts. You might not like him as a top 5, top 10, top 7 quarterback, but you got to go through him, no ifs, and or buts. Just like you got to go through Pat in the AFC. But again, Dan, we going to need you to say that on ESPN First Take, not just on your Twitter page, in the backyard. You got to stand on it, as my guy AJ Jones said. And if he don't, we going to have to hold him to the fire just like anybody else. Cam Newton could think, and look, the Cam Newton take was just ridiculous because you don't even have him in the top 10. Like, if you want to be biased and look at the pretty passers and try to keep Jalen Hurts out of the top 5 based off on certain stats, I'm still not really listening to you. But does not even say top 10? What? That is just purposely trying to start an argument. Purposely trying to start an argument. Shout out to the 400 in the building. Hit the like button. Subscribe to the channel. We do live videos. We also do recorded videos pretty much daily. You know, I see a Packer fan in here. They gonna get brotherly shoved to death when we play them en route to a dub. Shout out to the Packer fan, though, for coming in. If you're just joining, again, we talked about the Cowboys taking a shot at Micah Parsons. We also talked about the new defensive tackle who not only is signed to the Eagles, got a big hill to climb to make the roster, though, with training camp. But he gets a training camp invite, and to get the training camp invite, he did beat out 2 other D tackles, which is something I like to take notice of. Anytime you have to beat somebody out to get a spot means you earned it more. Shout out to AJ Jones for the super chat. Appreciate the love and support. Jay said this for views. We the hot topic this year. That's facts. If you again, just go on, at least go on Twitter and look at Cam Newton's podcast clips. The biggest clip he put up in the last 10 to 15 uploads on Twitter was the Jalen Hurts slander. So he knew what he was doing. Jalen Hurts and the Eagles getting their Super Bowl rings. Jalen Hurts and the Eagles reporting for training camp. Let me go out there and call the Super Bowl MVP a quarterback who's not deserving of top 10 rankings. Eagle fans unite. And even though it's bad, flooding of it's quote tweeting with, bro, Cam, you are crazy. It's comments like you are ridiculous. It's still bad publicity. Sometimes it's just as good, at least for the views. But yeah, I don't take anything away from the other good quarterbacks in the league, right? Because I'm not a hater. I do think Allen, Burrow, and all these other, they're great. But Jalen Hurts is as great, if not greater. The proof is in the record, in the pudding. Now, again, I know Cam will say some stuff like that. He literally said on national television that he wouldn't give up his MVP for a Super Bowl. So you know where he is. He's a me, not a we type of guy. Nigel said, Philly Mike, I think everybody's scared that our defense is going to be number one. That's something else they try to hold over Jalen Hurts' head. He got Saquon, he got the best defense. Lamar's defense has been good his whole career. Lamar Jackson's Ravens defense has been great every year he's been on the team. Jalen, and again, Joe Burrow got 2 wide receivers. They don't discredit him, but his defense was bad last year. In 2023, the Eagles' defense was bad. We ranked damn near last, 29th, 30th, 31st in certain defensive categories. So Jalen Hurts somehow took one of the worst defense in football in 2023 to the playoffs. Now, again, the way it happened was a really good start, 10-1, and a collapse. Yeah, we collapsed. But when you look at the statistics throughout the whole year, the offense was still top 10-ish. The defense was bottom 3. We collapsed, but we still made the playoffs. So why ain't Herbert in the playoffs all the time? Burrow, who's been in the Super Bowl, can't consistently get to the playoffs. Just saying. Touchdown is 6 points. Whether you push it in, run it in, pass it in. Football is played. Jalen Hurts is an all-time football player, and he can do it multiple ways. And there's gonna always be people who don't like it if it's not aesthetically pleasing, if I even said that right. King Diego in the building said Cam would have a Super Bowl ring if he played better in that game. Facts. That's another thing that don't get brought up. People want to talk about stats week 1 through 17. That's cool. But what do you do when the lights are the brightest? Are you afraid to jump on a fumble? Like, really? Jalen Hurts would have gave his Jalen Hurts with no helmet on, a shoe off, would have still got that fumble. Jalen Hurts in the Rams game got pulled down, bent backwards. If a fumble happened in the Rams game in the snow with one leg, he would have gave his other leg up to get that fumble. That's the difference. Cam's big, strong, and was talented, but he doesn't have the fortitude, the mindset to do whatever it takes to win because Cam still want to be pretty with it. And there's so many quarterbacks that still want to be pretty. Bro, my stats are bad. Let me stay in. Let me throw the ball a little bit more. I don't care if it's little check downs. I need 60, 70 yards. People care about that stuff. Not our guy. Now, let me ask you on the question. Shout out to the 443 people in here. Hit the like, subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell so you know when we drop these videos. Let me know in the comment section, what is the number one thing you are excited to see and or worried about as it pertains to training camp? I want y'all to take the conversation somewhere for me. Where are your eyes at? Where is your train of thought going when you get the report or the video or anything as it pertains to training camp day 1, 2, 3, 4? Is it still on the offensive side, defensive side, secondary, linebackers? Are you worried about Nakobe? Are you waiting to see when Nakobe Dean and Jahad Campbell is back? Are you starting to believe that Keele Ringo is deserving of an opportunity and or will maintain a level of play that we all feel comfortable at as the cornerback 2 in a defensive system under Fangio? The defense had the biggest turnaround, losing Sweat, Milton, Slay, Rogers, CJ. Some people still believe that Sidney Brown will win the job. Some people believe that it's Andrew Makuba's job. Some people were worried that Makuba wouldn't sign, which I told you he was going to sign. Let's see. I'm awake, straight up said cornerback. I hear you. G-Lo said I'm excited about that linebacker play. How long do you think we're going to see Jeremiah Trotter Jr. before we do get a Jahad Campbell and or Nakobe Dean? AJ said the wide receiver and DB battles. I'm a believer in Jahad Dotson. I know we've heard some good things about Danny Gray, the guy we signed from the Carolina Panthers. Terrence Marshall Jr. was making some plays, but I think Jahan got it on lock. Now behind Jahan Dotson, who's going to step up? Is the second year player Johnny Wilson, Anaya Smith, who's been working out with AJ Brown? I'm interested in that, but I don't think it's going to be a main problem. And again, we got to stay healthy. Health you want throughout training camp and the season. But I am interested in the DB battle. Afro Centric said, I honestly feel like we can be the team to three-peat. Can't three-peat without a two-peat. So we got to keep the main thing for now. Philly 559 said the defense. J Pope said the secondary. George said, I'm not worried for either side of the team. Last year, we had question marks on the defensive side. Each one was answered with an A. We had question marks on if the Eagles will allow Quinyon to be the guy out there. A+. Where will Cooper play? He plays a slot. A+. Nobody knew that Zach Bone was going to be who he was. A+. So many A's. Olik said Ringo was a concern for me, honestly. All right, that is a concern for everybody, I believe, or at least one of the talking points. Even if you believe in Keele Ringo, I think people are aware of the unknown, which could be good answers. Again, question marks could follow up, could turn good, but I do think everybody has some concern there, or at least are going to watch it. Barry said, I want to see what the Vanilla Gorilla has to offer. I think that is going to be a battle. I think early in the season and early in training camp, you're going to see a Jomo get the majority of the snaps as the first man to rotate in for Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter. But as the season goes on, who knows? I think that is them both. They're both going to be involved in the defense and play. But it should be interesting to see who leads at the end of the season. Trying to read some of these comments are coming in pretty quick. Philly 559 wants to know how the passing game evolves. Another key piece to the unknown of the Eagles offense, right? You think AJ, Smitty, Dallas, Hurts, the majority of the offensive line, all there. But a new play caller and Kevin Patullo. But let me ask y'all this. On a scale from 1 to 10, Ringo will be good. Not me. Y'all sleep just like I told y'all Mario Joma will be good. Shout out to you. I love that. I love to hear that. So let's hear this. On a scale from 1 to 10, 10 being the most confident you could be in a player, 1 being the least. What is your confidence level of Keele Ringo? Straight up. We're not going to ask you if he wins the spot over Adoree Jackson. We're not going to ask you if the Eagles add anybody else. 1 to 10, your confidence in Keele Ringo performing. Let's just say he wins the job. I want to hear the confidence level. And again, a solid training camp could really change the narrative, and it's also good mojo. It's a great, like, if he comes out there in training camp and he's going against AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, and he's holding his own, how can you not be confident in him to go out there and guard, Deebo Samuels and the number 2 for the Giants, and when we play against the Packers and he got to go against one of them wide receivers? Like, come on. That's another thing. The defensive line is always tested for the Eagles because of that offensive line. Quinyon and Cooper tested because of Smitty and AJ. If he's getting cooked in training camp, it's a little concerning, but he's also getting cooked by a top 5 offense, by top 2 wide receiver duo. So it's not like full panic mode, but if he's holding his own against these guys, it's big time. First one was a 2. Eddie says 8. Hustler said 4. I'm awake with a 2. That's the lowest so far. Philly 559 with a 7. Tony B 6. George Gonzalez 7.5. Barry 8. Eagle Go 8. Desmond 5. Corey 7. Okay, Song Samir Bird 17 with the highest so far, 9 or 10. We got Tevin with a 7.5. Daniel 7. 12 plus. That breaks the scale right there. Josh said 10 and Ringo. Okay. We got a 7, a confident 7. Hopefully 10, says AJ. Maz 7. Rome one more, 8. Yepa 5. If Fangio likes him and Fangio I trust, that's a good way to look at it too. Mike Brown 9. Jaquan 8. He's a good tackler. He only has to play his zone. I like it. Again, one thing about this, I do think that in Fangio's system, with the 2 high safety, again, we don't play 2 high safety all the time, but a 2 side, I can't even speak. A 2 high safety look does help Keele Ringo. He can be more physical at the catch point. He can press a little bit, get his hands on him early because he'll have help over the top, and he just got the makeup speed. Daniel said, I trust Fangio. I like it. So look, when we started this out, there was a couple 2s. There was a couple 2s, but then we started to see the 6, 7, 8, 6, 7, 8, 6, 7, 8s. King Diego with an 8. Keeley with a Baker with an 8. Just Blaze with a 9. So I again, Philly Mike gonna give him a solid. I'm around a 7. Prior to training camp, I'm a 7. Maybe a little higher. Now again, Quinyon on one side means Keele not only could get targeted more simply because he's the new guy on the block, but because Quinyon really locking up. We'll see. As it pertains for the linebacker position, if Jeremiah Trotter Jr. got to give us some PT early on, I'm okay with it. I'm a believer in Jeremiah Trotter Jr. as well. I don't want to rush back Jahad Campbell or Nakobe Dean, although with all the reports, watching videos of Jahad Campbell move around, seeing Nakobe Dean in the gym, I believe these guys are ahead of schedule. But still, when you got Zach Bowen as a leader in that linebacker room and a Jeremiah Trotter Jr., there's no need to rush. Breeder 1 said, what did Jerry Jones say about Micah? Oh, let me play it real quick for those who are just getting in here again. For those who are new to the channel, when we do live streams, my topics, I get out of the way in the first 10 minutes. And then the chat takes us off wherever we go next. So we did read the report about the Eagles signing the UFLD tackle Jacob Sykes, he let's do it all again real quick. So again, Jacob Sykes was signed. Eagles expected to sign UFL defensive tackle Jacob Sykes. He did beat out two other people. I'm not going to pull it up on the screen, but I'm going to click on it and read the article one more time real quick, and then we'll go to the Jerry Jones stuff, and then we'll talk a little bit more about training camp as well. The Eagles are expected to sign UFL League defensive tackle Jacob Sykes. Sykes, who turns 26 in a couple weeks, played college football at Harvard 2018 to 2021. And then UCLA in 2022 before signing with the Seahawks as an undrafted rookie free agent in 2023. After failing to stick in the NFL, he then joined the UFL San Antonio Bees in 2024, logging 13 total tackles, 3 tackles for loss, and 1 sack in 9 games played. The Eagles were apparently looking for more defensive line depth. Sykes was one of the 3D tackles the team worked out on Monday. The other two were Joe Evans and Leonard Payne. So again, Sykes notably shares a connection with the Eagles' senior defensive assistant and D-line coach, Clint Hurt. The two overlapped in Seattle during the 2023 season when Hurt was serving as the Seahawks defensive coordinator. So not only did Jacob Sykes beat out Joe Evans and Leonard Payne, he has a connection with Clint Hurt. The tackle room is stacked. It's a uphill battle for him to even possibly make the roster. But I do like the fact that he had to beat out 2 guys to even get here. Hustler said it's pronounced Skies or Sykes. Sykes. I'm agree with you because you know I'm horrible with names. So Jacob Sykes makes the roster. You right, Frankie. Right, you're probably right. He's just a camp body, but 3 people auditioned to be a camp body. He was the one that made it. So again, I'm always gonna be like, hey, there's a reason he made it over the other 2. He does have a connection with Clint Hurt. It's an uphill battle for sure. You're talking about Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis, Mora Ojomo, and the Vanilla Grilla. That's the 4 major ones. You got Thomas Booker and Gabe Hall, who I still like, possibly as a UD practice squad guy. So it's a huge uphill battle, and the most likely camp body. But shout out to him for making it. Now let's talk about Jerry Jones taking a shot at their best defensive player, not only the defensive player, but also their quarterback. He took a shot at Micah Parsons, and he took a shot at Dak Prescott. For those just joining in, make sure you hit that like button. It's free, it's easy, it don't cost a thing. So again, they were talking about if or when a deal could happen for Micah Parsons. And this is what Jerry Jones said. Let me play it.
Just because we sign him doesn't mean we're going to have him. He was hurt 6 games last year. Seriously. We've signed, I remember signing a player for the highest paid at the position in the league, and he got knocked out 2/3 of the year, Dak Prescott. So there's a lot of things you can think about when you, just as the player does, when you're thinking about committing and guaranteeing money.
So, again, the crazy thing is, he's pretty much saying just because they pay Micah Parsons, if they sign Micah Parsons, that don't mean they're going to have him. What if he gets hurt? You don't say that about a player. Then he decided to say right in front of everybody that Micah Parsons was hurt and missed 6 games. When honestly, in Micah Parsons' defense, I don't know the numbers, but the report already came out. He only missed 4 games. So you publicly say just because we signed Micah Parsons don't mean he's going to be on the team every game or he's going to be there for us because he got hurt 6 games last year when he only got hurt 4. Then he said they made Dak Prescott the highest paid player in the league and he missed 2/3. If you're a player who was hurt and you're trying to come back and play your best or you don't want to do that for somebody who don't believe in you. This is why I love Jerry Jones. Being an Eagles fan, having it as good as we do, training camp is starting. We're excited for football. We just got to see the best Super Bowl rings ever. Football's around the corner. We're bringing guys in. We're getting ready. And the Cowboys are stuck on stupid, not paying Parsons and blatantly taking shots. And then this guy is the new head coach. He got to manage all that while also doing whatever Jerry Jones says because the coach for the Cowboys is just a puppet for Jerry Jones. I love it. I absolutely love it. Micah Parsons retweeted what JJ Watt said. Hold on. So look, this is what JJ Watt said. Again, it's hilarious. And this is why, as much as we were talking about training camp and stuff, which we did a little bit, and we also talked about the new acquisition, it's great to just laugh at the Cowboys for the ridiculousness. Let me see if I can type in JJ Watt's thing. JJ Watt said something about this, and Micah Parsons retweeted it. All right, look at this. Anytime you can publicly take a dig at your star quarterback and your star pass rusher simultaneously right before the season begins, you just got to take it. Nothing makes guys want to fight for you more than hearing how upset you are that they got hurt while fighting for you. JJ Watt said that about this. Micah Parsons quote or retweeted it, and it's just more craziness. Like, look, did Howie Roseman say something along the lines of, well, the reason we didn't pay Kobe Dean or even offer him a contract yet is because he got hurt last year? You don't say that. Now, granted, when you're making a decision, you factor in everything, how healthy a player has been and all that, right? But you don't publicly say that. And no, that's behind closed doors. Lori and Howie would talk like, look, Kobe Dean's a great player. He has been hurt a couple times, though. That's good. But you don't come out and publicly trash your guys. Like, even if we pay Parsons, he might not be there. I love it, though. Jerry Jones and the Cowboys be stuck on stupid for 30 years, and it's absolutely crazy. How do you? It's funny. It's funny. Breeder One said, "Yeah, we already know Jerry Jones is unprofessional." They're talking about what's they're talking about being ready for training camp. They're talking about getting their guys ready to play, and he's like, "Just because we signed him doesn't mean he'll be there. Missed mad games last year. Plus, our quarterback missed a third, 2/3, and he was the highest paid." It's hilarious. Only talent they've had it for decades, and they're taking shots. Diabolical. Love it. Could you imagine Micah Parsons sitting out week 1, Eagles, Cowboys? We already going to dust these boys off. They lose Micah Parsons, we putting up 40 burger easily. We put up 40 burger on and with Parsons there. But remember what Parsons said? Remember when Micah Parsons lost to the Eagles without Jalen Hurts and decided to come on a post-game presser or something and say some like, if you take away the score, the game was close. If you take away the score, the game was close. That's crazy. For those just coming in, we did sign a UFL D tackle. His name is Jacob Sykes. Jacob Sykes, in 2023, he was signed to the Seattle Seahawks. He was a undrafted rookie free agent. He played with Clint Hurts. They had a little mini tryout. They worked out 3D tackles yesterday. Monday, they worked out 3D tackles, and he was the one that made it. Jay Brim said he's still under contract. That's why. Oh, yeah. Micah Parsons, you got the 5th-year option. But to this comment, this is who we signed. A UFL D tackle, former Seahawk, has connections with Clint Hurt, beat out Joe Evans and Leonard Payne to get a training camp invite, but he's probably a camp body and has a long way to go to even possibly make the roster. But that's one thing the Eagles do. We never just hand somebody a job. D as much as the article says we're looking to I think we're pretty stacked at the D tackle position. If a Jomo and the Vanilla Gorilla are your rotation pieces for Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter, with Thomas Booker, who gave you 50 to 60 snaps last year. Rhino said, bro, I clicked on this for some UFL camp body talk about sneaky. You got me, cuz. Look, I mean, Howie Roseman always has something up his sleeve. And yes, it's probably a camp body. But when you factor in that he was one of 3 people that the Eagles worked out, like, there's a reason behind how he does everything. So again, will he make the roster? My guess, no. But there's a reason that we worked out 3D tackles. He made it. He does have that Clint Hurt connection. He did play in the NFL one time with the Seattle Seahawks. We're just stacked at that position. But competition, iron sharpens iron. I'm a big Gabe Hall fan too. Big Gabe Hall fan out of Baylor. Finally caught you live. Yes, we good on D-line. You already know. I'm even liking the defensive end rotation. Again, who knows who actually will be the starters? But I'm liking Nolan Smith and Jalix Hunt on the 2 sides with Azeez Ojulari first off the bench, Joshua Uche second off the bench. Shout out to Patrick Johnson. He's been putting in work left and right with Nolan Smith. Who's to say he don't take a step, but then he will be your 5th piece. You know what I'm saying? If anything, I think you would want to add a defensive end before adding more defensive tackle help. Hustler said Sykes and Hall are 3rd stringers. Look at the depth chart. Could be. Again, the Eagles' D tackle rotation is important because the starters might be Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis, but Ajomo's going to get a lot of reps. He might get the same amount of reps as Jordan Davis. If you remember last year, even with Milton Williams on the team, it was Jalen Carter with 800 plus snaps, Milton Williams with 500 and something snaps, and both Jordan Davis and Moro Ojomo had 380 apiece. Jalen Carter's going to have about 800 snaps again. 500 snaps went bye-bye. If Jordan Davis and Mora Ojomo had 380 snaps apiece, while Milton Williams had 530, 550 snaps, guess what? Ojomo's going to have 380 again or more. Jordan Davis is going to have 380 again or more. And the Vanilla Gorilla is probably going to have 2 to 300 too. Let's just say it this way. You got to account for 500 something snaps for Milton. Say you give 100 more snaps to Jordan Davis, 380 to 480. Now you still got 400 snaps. You give another 100 to Ojomo, 380 to 480. You still got 300 more snaps. Then you give 250 of that to the Vanilla Gorilla and the other 50 to Booker or whoever else is on the depth chart, whether it's Jacob Sykes or Gabe Hall. 100 more to Jordan Davis, 100 more to Amara Ojomo, and 250 for the Vanilla Gorilla, maybe 300. That's how you cover the Milton Williams snaps. My own perspective, member for 15 months. Appreciate the love and support. What's up, chat? Any word on the tight end from the Seahawks? Oh, I did hear that Noah Fant was released. Are you interested? I mean, I think because we retained Dallas Goedert, remember, we did sign 2 tight ends in the offseason before we knew that Dallas Goedert was going to be retained. We signed Granson and Bunker. I don't know if we would go after Noah Fant. Young will go on the practice squad. Oh, yeah, we got Byron Young, too. Byron Young is on the Eagles got mad D tackles. So the fact that they brought 3 D tackles in Monday And Jacob Sykes was the one who performed the best to get invited to training camp. It's crazy to me. It's crazy to me. Jalen Carter will make everybody better, though. And look, I am not trying to poo-poo on on Milton Williams. He's a dog. But the way Amaro Ajoma was playing last year, he was low-key catching up. Not gonna say he's there yet, but low-key catching up. Davis got better in the latter part of the season. The Vanilla Gorilla, I think he's gonna be a problem. So I really do like the defensive tackle group a lot. Tiffany said this team is stacked at all positions. And even the question marks are good question marks. Anthony Jolly said, Dak, I heard he restructured his contract so Micah might get around $38 million and maybe get 6 or 7 wins in the Arch Manning sweepstakes. Well, no. The TJ Watt just got 41 mil. Bro, that's another thing that the Cowboys really messed up. If they would have paid, think about this. Micah Parsons was drafted the same year as Devontae Smith. Devontae Smith got a new contract last year in the offseason. If the Cowboys would have paid Micah Parsons last year in the offseason, he would have got 33 or 34 million. Nick Bosa was one of the first, like, there's a group of people who got paid recently. I think Nick Bosa was one of the guys who got paid around the time that Parsons could have got paid if it was accordance to Devontae Smith. If they would have paid Parsons last year, he probably making 34 a year. Bosa got 34. Crosby got like 36 or 38. What's his name for the Cleveland Browns? Myles Garrett got 40 mil. And TJ Watt got 41. So 34 for Bosa could have been Parsons. 36 to 38 for Crosby could have been Parsons. 40 for Garrett could have been Parsons. 41 for TJ Watt could have been Parsons. My man gonna get 42. But meanwhile, Jerry Jones is like, even if we sign him, don't mean he'll be here. The dude was hurt a lot last year. I think 6 times. Even though he was wrong, it was 4. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Gregory said our Eagles run basically at 5-man front. You can always take a look at a fresh D lineman for and giggles. Yeah, we do run a 5-man front a lot. Sometimes we bring down though Zach Bourne and use him as a pass rusher as well. But yes, the rotation is key for the Eagles because Fangio want to rotate. The only person that don't get rotated out much is Carter. So Jalen Carter just be on the line like forever, ever. But the ends and the other D tackle rotate. Jordan Davis might be the starter alongside of Jalen Carter, but he might play as many snaps as the Vanilla Gorilla and Amaro Jomo as the year goes on. You can never have too many D tackles. You can never have too many cornerbacks. Competition is competition. That's competition. The Eagles have told you guys a lot. Howie Roseman doesn't just look at the 53-man roster. He cares about the practice squad. When you have a guy like Gabe Hall in the practice squad, who I think could possibly be something, it's a good develop. You keep him, you develop him. Again, we brought in 3D tackles on Monday. Joe Evans, Leonard Payne, and Jacob Sykes. He is the one that made it. Probably a camp body, like y'all said. But he sneaked on to the team thus far. And he does have a connection with Clint Hurt. My perspective with a $2 super chat. Appreciate the love and support. He said, yes, sir. the guy can catch and block better than our backups. Yes, if I had to guess, if I had to pick out of Granson, Bunker, or Noah Fant, I think Noah Fant is a more all-around tight end. I really, really, really do like Grant Calcaterra. Not as a blocker. We all know he's a liability as it pertains to blocking. So even Noah Fant will be over him as it pertains to, in terms of just overall tight end. So yes, depending on the price, he got released. You're talking about maybe a million, a real cheap signing. I would entertain Noah Fant, but if you do sign a Noah Fant, you got to release a Bunker or a Granson, the guy we got from the Colts or the guy we got from the Raiders. Got to release one. Appreciate the super chat though. My own perspective. Salvatore said 11 from heaven might want money, but still won't get a ring in Dallas. You're right about that. And I'm fine with Dallas being Dallas. Eagles are low-key bringing guys in for competition right before training camp, and the Cowboys are complaining about paying the guys who hold it down for them. It is what it is. We've been live for 56 minutes. I love y'all to death. Like I said, we drop videos almost every day. We're going to start going live a lot more because y'all be asking me about the live streams. We're going to have some of you guys come on as guests. We'll do call-ins. I need to get up with LB so we can get back to talking that Go Talk podcast. Chop it up with LB. I got a couple other Eagle content creators coming on soon. I'll be talking to them on the side. Football season is back. Noah Fant is definitely more versatile than a guy like Grant Calcaterra. I agree with you, Steven. He can't block, but I do like him as a receiver. And he was starting to get busy with Jalen Hurts. He was starting to get that chemistry, right? In the 7 games that Dallas Goedert missed. He had that he had a touchdown against the Panthers. It wasn't Jalen Hurts in that one game, but he caught that one-handed catch from Kenny Pickett though in what do you call it? Kelly Green for sure. I like that catch. Shout out to G-Lo with a dollar super chat, just dropping a super sticker for GP. Appreciate the love and support. All donations are greatly appreciated. The like button is free though. You should hit that just off the strength of coming up in here. Anthony, what's going on? Calcaterra is underrated. Definitely needs to be a better blocker, but I do like him as a tight pass catching tight end. Another part of the Grant Calcaterra saga has been all the injuries he's had. All the injuries. Ken Mallett said Parsons can't set the edge on the run and he disappears against good offensive linemen. That could be something else that's holding up the contract. He does have less sacks in the postseason than Nolan Smith. That's a fact. We're not trying to compare Nolan Smith to Micah Parsons throughout the regular season. I'm a big believer in Nolan Smith. I got double digits of double-digit sacks coming for Nolan Smith this year. But Micah Parsons has shown you throughout the regular season, he's a 15, 13, 14, 15 guy in terms of sacks. However, disappears in the playoffs. Disappears. Gotta love that. Drew said, I can't wait for the call-in show. Salute Philly Mike. Yeah, we might be coming back this week. Maybe Thursday, Friday with a call-in show. But listen, I've been dropping videos daily or every other day. We will start doing some live shows more. Philly Mike's Donnie Four said, who is your most underrated Eagle? Are you asking of all time or for this 2025 season? Let me know if you're asking for all time or the 2025 season. Tiffany said, smash the like button and subscribe. That's for sure, Tiffany. I appreciate that. And I love the profile picture. Love hurts. It definitely does. Irvin, I wanted to draft. Oh, y'all talking to each other this season. So if I had to give you one of the most underrated players of this season, A part of me wants to say Keele Ringo because I do think a lot of people are sleeping on him, and I do think he's going to be good. But as it pertains to, I'm going to say like underrated in the sense of he's going to have a breakout season, and by the end of the season, you're going to be these two players are going to be talked about. One of them, some NFL podcasts already know, Moro Ojomo. Right? I don't want to do no rookies. I like Makuba's chance to break out. I like the Vanilla Gorilla too. But Ajomo's going to be talked about as a dominant D tackle by the end of the season. And somebody else, right on the defensive line, he started to show you who he was in the postseason and in the Super Bowl. Jalix Hunt. Jalix Hunt is a late third round pick. He was drafted out of a college that nobody knew about. Didn't get to play early. Came in when Bryce Huff and BG got hurt. Jalix Hunt is going to be a household name. Jalix Hunt and Ajomo are going to be as good, if not better, than Josh Sweat and Milton Williams. And if that happens, that is crazy. We've seen it. But the NFL is going to have a heart attack. The NFL is going to lose their mind. The people who don't fully pay attention to the Eagles are going to lose their if Jalix Hunt is in this year better than Josh Sweat or even equal to him. Josh Sweat just got $19 million. A third round, second year player contributing as much as a $19 million player. A seventh round, third year player contributing as the highest paid New England Patriot of all time, more than Brady. Milton Williams is what did he get? 26 million? If a Jomo and Hunt contribute equally to a 26 and $19 million guy, that's the definition of underrated. But there's so many guys that this term could focus on. I like what Keele Ringo brings. I think he's being slept on. I wouldn't call him underrated. I would call him slept on. But underrated, Jalix Hunt and Ajomo. Nolan Smith, I don't want to say underrated because I believed in Nolan since day one. Some of y'all were in the comment sections last year like, bro, you got to give it up on Nolan. He's too little. He's this, he's that. Dotson's a good one too. He's in a contract year. Listen, there's a lot of people that can get the underrated tag for the Eagles. A lot. I agree with you on a lot of these. For sure. Most underrated Eagle, easy. Jalen Hurts. Ask any third grader in Philadelphia. That's easy. Well, yes, when you talk about the definition of underrated, just watch any sports talk show and the way they discuss Jalen Hurts, some of them not even putting him in a top 10, is just disrespectful. Again, nobody likes us. We don't care. We've been saying that for a while, and it's brought us 2 Super Bowls. We got the underdog Super Bowl, and we got the revenge Super Bowl. And now we're looking for the two-peat. The two-peat is going to hit so hard. And anybody and everybody who's really been popping off the mouth at Jalen Hurts is going to, they're going to be so hurt. 2 Super Bowls? Sheesh. With all that being said, I love y'all to death. Hit the like, subscribe to the channel. We've been live for an hour and 4 minutes. We are going to be going live a lot more. Some in the afternoons around 6, 7, 8. Some also around 10, 11, 12. We'll have videos in between. Do your boy a favor, like, subscribe, turn on the notification bell. Again, if you're just getting in here, go back to the beginning. We talked about the new UFL guy we signed. He beat 2 other D tackles out and has a connection with Clint Hurts. We also talked about what Jerry Jones said about Micah Parsons. We gave we talked training camp a little bit, all that good stuff. I love y'all to death. Until next time, you know what time it is. We out.